particularly in an uncorrupt society, which I like to think Hong Kong is, you may correct me or whatever, but how on earth do you exercise leverage in those circumstances to get what may be unpopular proposals, but necessary ones?
That is a separate issue.
Well,
my
it's not
question
separate.
was,
Sorry.
but my question was,
Yeah.
can you think of any other place or city or nation in the world that have true separation of the three?
No, I can't. But I would say that to you.
Whether it's a good thing or bad thing is a separate issue.
No, all right. Well, I am a very passionate ex-Hong Konger, and I would like Hong Kong to have a better system. There we are. That's why I'm uncomfortable in answering your question that way, although I think you're probably right, yes. And I do emphasise, we said to the Chinese, have a Westminster system, and they said, no way, Jose. Westminster system is one that will, because they don't, I need to tell you a little bit of a story, but it does answer your question in a different way. Don't forget, the people we were negotiating with in Beijing were English-speaking Chinese officials who'd mostly grown up and developed their diplomacy, because to be English-speaking, they'd worked in former British colonies. And many of those colonies had ended up not doing well. I remember one of them I negotiated with was a former Chinese ambassador in Pakistan. And Pakistan has not been a model of particularly great governance over the last 40 years. And they detected in this a British plot to sow the seeds of discord and division and weakness in the arrangements we left behind after British rule. And they thought part of the British plan was to leave a Westminster system that would destabilise these new independent countries. The idea that British would be capable of anything so clever as that, I think, is rather challenging. But that was the Chinese view, that this was all a British plan, which is why, under advice from a lot of their local representatives here, self-appointed, they went for an American system, which superficially seemed to be much easier and more transparent. And those of you that know the American system will know the American system is not quite as easy to run as possibly the Chinese thought it was. But it had many more attractions from the Westminster system. Back to your original question, yes, I cannot think of another, Hong Kong isn't a country, sadly, I cannot think of another place that has that absolute separation of powers. Montesquieu would be delighted. Anyway.
Westminster system